Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peace that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Well, grand rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I am so excited to be closing my week out with all of you. What a great first week of episodes, and huge shout out to all of y'all who have been watching. We appreciate y'all welcoming us back with open arms. Really excited for my guest who's in the building today. We got Thamu Dube. Oh my goodness, head of design at Yoodli, y'all. We're going to be learning all about how this AI tool is creating amazing communicators by sharing with them better ways to communicate. So I'm so excited that he is joining me because I'm going to be learning right alongside y'all. You know, I got lots of good questions I'm going to get into. But of course, before that, I get to get into it with you. You know, this is the top of the show. This is where you help us grow by sharing this show with others who you feel can benefit from our daily dose of dopeness that we work to give you here on The Day with Trae every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of the week. So, of course, if you can't watch us, you can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You will find us on your favorite platforms. Okay, before I get into it with Thamu, I got to say, you know, just being back in the Black Media Matter studios for this first week of season 4 of The Day with Trae has been nothing but delightful. You know, there's something special about the energy that the Converge team and I, as a part of that team, have curated in this space. And we really work to make sure every single guest feels that energy. You know, one of the things that drives us is constant storytelling of our community and of the things that impact our community. We work to make sure y'all are informed, engaged, and inspired by these stories. And I've said this many times, but there's something special in the works here all the time. And no matter what show you're watching that Converge produces, or what documentary you may be watching that we produce, or if you see us out there capturing an amazing event and creating a production out of that so that y'all could be informed if you missed it, you know, these are the things that really help us to capture the brilliance in community. And I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of it here as the host of The Day with Trae. But it expands into so many other realms of my life. And for those of you that have stopped me on the street, gave me a salute, or let me know that what we're doing is impacting you in a positive light, I want to thank you for that. You know, that energy really is amazing fuel for all of us to continue doing this work. You'd be really, I think, amazed by all of the people who pour into Converge Media having their own why story. There's a reason why all of us are here doing this work. There's a reason why my director, Eric Calligraphy, stays right there to make sure every shot is captured perfectly while also being in the community to produce segments. There's a reason why Omari Salisbury and Eric Calligraphy got together to say, man, we're not seeing this in our community. We need to create something that really brings the vision to life of what we're doing. And starting off as a blog and writing and maybe pictures and growing to where we are today, while that blog still continues, we understand the beauty and the passion that we have to tell our stories. And we're so grateful to all of you who have been able to absorb this amazing content over the years. So I just wanted to thank my Converge Media family and thank all of y'all for continuing to see us in the ways that you do, and for allowing us to be a part of the impact you may be experiencing right here in the Pacific Northwest. Well, up next, y'all, we got Thamu Dube in the building. We're going to be talking all things Yoodli right after this short break. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Seattle Opera presents the celebrated opera, Fellow Travelers. A powerful love story with a ravishing score, Fellow Travelers is called A Gay La Boheme, named a critic's pick by the New York Times. Fellow Travelers evolved from book to opera to a popular Showtime TV series. Don't miss Fellow Travelers, On stage February 21st through March 1st at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the David Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday, and joining me right now is Thamu. Hi.
Hey, Trae.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, really exciting to have you. You know, there's so many things emerging with AI, and I'm such a novice, okay?
Yep.
So I just want to say that now
Okay.
because I am so intrigued by the work you do. I'm also, in my day job, a communications director. So this work that you're doing at Yoodli to build a communication platform that is human powered and AI powered all combined is beautiful. Just tell us a little bit about your story before you got to Yoodli. What had you be the right person for this role as head of design?
Oh gosh, where to begin? I had moved to the US from the UK, and my story starts in Zimbabwe, where I was born. And moved to the UK. I was very young. I was a young man. I was, in my teens, and moving to the UK, getting into the media story starts from there, where I got obsessed with digital media. I went to my college years were in the UK, and then the start of my career was actually in advertising. Working for ad agencies in the creative departments. But then the bug was always there if I wanted to work with the internet, with digital media, and through various avenues, ended up starting my own media consultancy and then moving to the US and being a startup co-founder. So I've been on that journey, and I understand that journey, and then working with startups. I was living in Boise, Idaho at the time, and led design for a startup there. And then my fiance and I at the time decided that, Boise was lovely. It was a great place, and we had, a good time there. But it was time to move on, and we moved to Seattle. And I moved to Seattle, and within a week, I think when I was looking and I heard of this company, Yoodli, and I was fascinated by the prospect of working in AI, having worked in tech startups, and met the co-founders, and the opportunity sort of evolved from there. And it was, hey, we've got this rocket ship of a company that we're building. And I like to liken it to building a plane while it's still flying.
Yeah.
And that was the sort of the journey. And that, and so from the personal to the professional, that mix and that motivation is what fueled me to then join Yoodli. And then the role kind of evolved from, we're a startup, we're trying to figure things out, to there's a team of people now, and we're now building this thing and the milestones that we've hit. And here we are today.
Wow. Well, I got to ask about the importance of building the right team in a startup environment. I myself have been a part of several startups, whether it was in the nonprofit sector, private sector, now in the government sector, because my office was like a startup when I joined out of the governor's office for the Office of Equity. And so it was still like new, and we're figuring out like what is our body of work.
Right.
But there's something really special about having the right folks on board who have that mentality to understand this stuff isn't built for you.
Yeah.
Like, you are part of building it. Tell us a little bit about how y'all have been able to do that at Yoodli.
I think the main thing was everybody starts with their why, right? Why do you want to do this is the question ultimately that in the interviews we'd ask folks, like, this is a startup and it's not for everyone. What's in it for you? And for the most part, everyone's why aligned in that early stage. And it's an immigrant-built company where everyone understood the problem and was very familiar with the problem. And they were looking at a solution that they could directly relate to their own personal experiences. So it's a powerful story when that why is so aligned to the mission of that entity as a whole. And when we all came together, it was very clear what the impact was going to be. And that's really the crux of it all. It starts with, why am I here? Why is this important? Why is this work important? And it helps keep you grounded in moments where the doubt creeps in, where the disorder comes in, where, you know how it is with startups. Is it working? Is the chemistry there? Is the product doing what's supposed to do? And all the challenges that come with it. So I think that's really what drove us that brought everyone together. It was the why was so aligned across all of us that nothing else could stand in the way of what we were doing.
You know, I gotta tell you, I agree with you 1,000%. I'm constantly talking about your why story, and allowing that to be what fuels you in terms of talking about the work out in community. But sometimes you need to be reminded of that too, right? Like you said, when it gets a little thin and like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? So in a nutshell, now AI is still, it feels like it's still just really emerging for so many of us. What does Yoodli do?
Yoodli is, in the basic explanation of what it does, is it helps humans become better communicators. A lot of what we see with AI right now is, you hear companies saying, we've cut 1,000 folks because AI can do those jobs. We are not in the business of replacing human beings. We're in the business of empowering human beings. And so what Yoodli does at base level is, you have a need to be a better communicator. Yoodli will help you do that. And the technology at its core and its power is, it shows you the things and the kind of blind spots that you wouldn't see. So a friend, I was talking to Eric before this, where if you're doing a presentation in front of a friend, and your friend is giving you feedback, and more often than not, that feedback is biased because they don't want to hurt your feelings. It might not be informed because they might not know the subject area. So what Yoodli does is it replaces that mirror that you practice in front of, that friend that doesn't want to hurt your feelings, but then it puts you in the middle of that, and it says, hey, this is about you. Here are the skills that you have. Here are the skills that you need to build on, and we'll give you feedback and we'll guide you through this process. And at the end of it, you'll be better for it.
Oh my. Well, okay. So I got a little something to spill here, y'all, because just reading Thamu's bio and the work that he's done, I was so intrigued by this combination of AI empowering human beings. I think, there is such a great fear around that replacement piece. Or this fear of us becoming more mechanical as human beings, right? And so there's got to be some real intricacies involved in the design of this to really speak to those who may be first-time users of AI, who still may be skeptical of it. Oh my God, is it going to run into self-preservation, which is what I'm always on. How do you, as the head of design, address some of those concerns that, your end user may have?
One of the things is, as a team, what we have is a philosophy around making this technology as approachable as possible. So first and foremost, is it fun to use? Because a lot of these tools are not fun to use, and where we start from is, we start with delight. And delight's at the heart of everything. We use that word a lot in the team. Is it delightful? When the user clicks this button or presses this or touches that, did they have a delightful experience? When you start from there, the rest of it becomes easier, because your decision making is always with the user having an enjoyable experience. And so when we think of the recording experience, for instance, when the user first comes on, it's very intimidating to see yourself on a camera or to hear yourself speak. For most people, this is not something that they've developed as a skill. How do you make that delightful? How do you make that easy? How do you make that barrier of entry so low that it becomes almost natural whenever the user comes back? And after that, everything else comes back to, how does the AI communicate? Because if the AI communicates like a robot, you're going to take that as, I'm talking to a robot. And so, again, it's all about, is this experience something that leaves a positive impression when the person comes the first time? It doesn't always happen. We know that.
Yeah.
but the goal is always that, and the guiding light is always that.
Yeah. So I'm assuming here that there must be some type of feedback loop too, as you've had some of those first time users, coming in to maybe share their experience that helps the product become better in terms of experience. How do you incorporate that kind of feedback?
We have a very disciplined group of people on our team who keep us honest, and so we have we kind of have a user base that's split in the middle. We have your kind of consumer users and everyday people that want to practice for an interview that have come on and signed up for Yoodli. We also have enterprise customers, and enterprise customers are companies that have divisions of folks that might be salespeople, managers, executive coaching. And so what we track very carefully is feedback from both those groups of users. And we have customer success managers that sit at the top of those relationships. And that feedback is filtered through to us, whether it's an engineering team or the product team. So really at the heart of it, our customer success folks are the heartbeat of that feedback. The product team filters that all through, and we track all of that in terms of, customers requested something, and we react very quickly. And so one of the things we say internally is we have speed with judgment. So,
Nice.
so the reaction of being able to react to a user's request or user's feedback is critical to us. But the mechanism in which we do it is it's very tactical. It has trackable outcomes so that we know what we're delivering at the end.
Yeah. It's so important too. And I think about the competitive nature of just the tech space in general, especially with AI. There's a lot probably that you all are doing in terms of market analysis and the unique offering that Yoodli provides. How have you been able to learn from some of the existing tools that exist and make sure that Yoodli has that unique experience that's, sets y'all apart?
Keeping our ears as close to the ground as possible. Being always on the cutting edge of what the technology is able to do, and listening to customers and what they see from other tools that they may have had frustrations with is very critical for us. And so we get customers that come in and say, have used tool A and tool B, and this is what this tool didn't have. And again, the speed component for us means that our team is so agile that, we come back a week later and we've built something that they didn't have before. So it's a combination of those three things that really sets us on a path of always constantly moving and evolving, but staying true to the mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Thamu, I'm thoroughly impressed. Without having ever used Yoodli, I can understand already the vast amount of application that, this particular tool and product can have on so many folks. When you think about some of those end goals for the company and, what y'all are really excited to achieve as you grow and build, share some of those with us.
So when we think about where AI is going, and I'll give an analogy that was used by Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and he said there's companies that exist today where if the LLM gets better and their product is anchored in the capabilities of the LLM today, which is the large language model, then that company dies. Right. So if your company is rooted in a feature that's in ChatGPT today, and a development in that feature, or a change or an advancement in that feature means that your company cannot take advantage of it, then your company is going to die. Where we are is in the way that we think of it is that as the technology gets better, our platform gets better.
Yeah.
So the more capabilities Gemini has, the more capabilities Claude has, the more capabilities that ChatGPT develops, as it gets more and more powerful, That's how we see that. I'm not sure if I've answered the question.
Yeah. I mean, because to a certain degree, it's ever evolving.
Yes.
You're in an environment that is changing for end users every single day.
Yeah.
Changing for those who are at the head of design like yourself or involved in the product launching and the full design that folks are experiencing. And I think collectively as communities across the globe are toying with it, playing with it, figuring out what apps they should have. It's just a ever evolving landscape. So I think you do have to have that kind of mindset to understand how you evolve with the landscape itself. So you did answer it for sure. Of course, if folks are interested in figuring out how to learn Yoodli, connect with them, maybe some folks out there are looking at, man, that's the service we need for our enterprise. I want you to look right here in this camera. Let folks know how they tap in with Yoodli.
Well, it starts with our website. It starts with contacting our sales team. We have on the website, you have a contact sales button, and that will take you directly to one of our sales teams. They're very active. They'll get back in touch with you very quickly. We also allow folks to trial Yoodli for themselves. So if you sign up for an account, you can instantaneously see how Yoodli works and Yoodli in action as a user yourself as well.
Wow.
And it's Yoodli.ai.
Yoodli.ai. That's YOODLI.ai.
That's right.
Thamu, wow. I'm just impressed. Y'all don't even know. I'm about to really keep talking after this. Thank you so much for being here and for shedding light on the work y'all are doing.
Thank you so much.
And for bringing your brilliance to Yoodli as head of design. I'm sure you've really been so integral in what users are experiencing today. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Trae.
Wow. Y'all, I'm just impressed. Of course, I get to wrap it all up right after this break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Washington's biggest night out for sports
is Sports Star.
Are you ready for a day of culture, creativity, and competition? The 12th annual Reign of Style event is happening Sunday, March 1st at the Seattle Center Exhibition Hall. Prepare to witness some of the Northwest's best barbers, stylists, and makeup artists throw down for the reigning stylist title and the $1,000 grand prize. We'll see you there.
Seattle Opera presents the celebrated opera, Fellow Travelers. A powerful love story with a ravishing score, Fellow Travelers is called A Gay La Boheme, named a critic's pick by the New York Times. Fellow Travelers evolved from book to opera to a popular Showtime TV series. Don't miss Fellow Travelers, on stage February 21st through March 1st at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. Of course, I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to Thamu for being here from Yoodli, head of design, who just guided us through some of the things that Yoodli is doing out here to make sure folks are better communicators. And I got to tell y'all that it is so intersectional with the work that I've been doing, not only in media, but also in community, running media behind nonprofits and now in government sector. And it's beautiful to understand that there are tools that we can use to help us become better communicators. So of course, if you're interested, if you're someone who's like, we might need that at our company, or hey, I just want to try it for myself, make sure you go to yoodli.ai, YOODLI.ai, and do that free trial. Try it out for yourself. We can all learn how to become better communicators, no matter where you work or who you communicate with. We are all communicating in some way, shape, or form. So take the opportunity to figure out how to sharpen your communication tools. Okay, I wanted to say skills and tools, y'all, so it came out as schools, but use your communication skills to be enhanced, to empower the relationships you have around you. So grateful he was here joining me, and I'm definitely inspired. I hope y'all were inspired out there too to give it a try. You never know what it might tell you about your communication style. Thanks so much for watching this week. I'll be back with y'all next week, and until Monday at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.